Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. Thank you for being here with us again on Monday night. I'm your host, Donna Gray Banks, and tonight our special guest is Angelo Ellerbee, the author of Before I Let Go. Thank you for being here with us tonight, Angelo. I
It
appreciate it.
is it is all my pleasure. Thank you.
Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Islands Diamonds LLC, Lee's Press, a Dante production, where the jazz series will continue at Cinematique August 11th with Adam Kornecki, and the Fresh Book Festival will be 20, 21, 22, February in the year 2025. Don't forget those dates. It's coming up really, really quickly. If you have any questions for Angelo, please leave them in the chat room. And this conversation is being recorded. And thank you. Good evening, Mr. Ellerbee. Take a brief moment to tell us a little bit about your background.
My name is Angelo Antonio Ellerbee, born and raised in the greatest city in the world, Newark, New Jersey. Born to an incredible mother by the
A
name of
lot of
Eva.
jazz came out of Newark, New Jersey.
Sure, Sarah Vaughan and a bunch
Yeah.
of other wonderful people.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Born
I'm
to
sorry.
a born to a wonderful woman, a single parent, a waitress, an eighth grade education parent, my mother, who I'm romantically in love with still to this day. After her passing, I'm still in love with her. I make a lot of money off of my mother's who, what's, whens, wheres, and whys of how she raised her six children. My
Six
degree is
children?
six
Wow.
children.
Yeah.
My degree is in fashion designs. I sold in a lot of department stores across the country and decided to change my platform of life when I met the two-time Grammy Award winner James M. Tume. We best know Mr. M. Tume's work by all of the Stephanie Mills songs, all of the Roberta Flack songs, and then his songs, Juicy Fruit and You, Me, and He, and it goes on and on and on. And that's my introduction. I love, love, love me some Angelo Ellerbee. I'm
Well, very good.
romantically in love with me. And
I
because
love
I love me, I can love you, Donna, and I can love all these people on this panel because I give all the mercy to the man above.
You know what? I love it when I say to myself, I love that for me because you deserve it. You deserve
Yes,
those
you
things, right?
absolutely do. You
You
do.
deserve those things.
Donna, the thing is that we have to understand that we're great because we are God's children and we
Mm.
grow to be greater. And what God wants us all to do is to be the greatest at what we do. And so that is the path in which I walk. That is the path in my mere existence to
Are
be
we on
great.
two different time zones? Are you still on the East Coast? I
I'm on the
wasn't
East
so sure.
Coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so you have had a stellar career on many different platforms, but tonight we want to focus on your writing experience. I
Yes.
heard in an interview that Mtume gave you $100 to buy newspapers to help you become a publicist.
Yes.
When did you know reading books, newspapers, etc., would change your life?
Well, it was James and Tume who came to me. As I said, I was a designer, and he used to come to my fashion shows, him and his wife. And they asked me to do his You, Me, and He album cover. And I honestly did not know who was M2 I didn't know.
Killing me
Uh,
softly.
yeah, well, I just did not know. So the
Yeah.
wife asked me if I would do the You, Me, and He album cover, and I did. And then he came to me and he asked me, he said, if you could do all this stuff for Camille, why don't you do it for me? I said, I know nothing about music. He says, I think it's time for you to know about music. And I became his intern for 5.5 years. And
Wow.
then 2 years later, I became his manager. But we were doing a movie. It was Diane Silver Movies. It was the first movie that Oprah Winfrey starred in, and it was called The Native Son.
Mm.
And M2 was doing the soundtrack, but he had no publicist. So I became the publicist, even though I knew nothing
Nothing.
about the bullet, nothing. So he digged in his pocket. He said, here's $100. Go to the store and buy some newspapers and magazines. And I did. And he said, I want you to understand the bylines and the story. I want you to look for things that are music for and performing arts related. So I saw this one lady's name. Her name was Ellen Rosenbaum, and she worked for the New York Times. So this lady got on the phone and she was as nasty as she can be. You know, when you're doing those cold calls
Like, what
and
do you
when
want?
they don't want to be bothered, right?
Right.
So she coughed it, and she coughed about every second of it. And she said, I'm really, really not interested. And she coughing and coughing. I said, can I get your last name, spell it for me, and give me your address? So I got out of the, we were working out of Mtume's basement. I got into the car. I went to the drugstore. I bought 40 packs of cough drops. Then I went to the next store and got a gift box. Then I went to Federal Express and I Federal Expressed her 40 packages of cough drops. The next morning, she called me and she said to me, you didn't have to do this, young man. Why did you do this? I said, well, you were coughing and I wanted you to get better. And she said, so tell me, how can I help you? And I went on to say, well, I represent this gentleman by the name of James Ntume. So I want young people to understand that it's about relationships. It's about how you court the relationships, how you listen to that journalist or that person that you're speaking to over the phone, because it's not about you, it's about them. You have to nurture the relationship with them in order for you to get what you need to get. Well, 3 days later, full page spread in the New York Times on James Ntume. And so I want people to understand that it's not about winning every race. It's about staying in the race. It's about being persistent, and eventually you'll win. I don't know nothing about, I never took the elevator or the escalator. I took the steps. I walked panel by panel by panel. And I got a chance to learn as I went. It wasn't about instant coffee, it was about brewed coffee. I don't like instant coffee. I don't want nothing in my life instant. I want nothing fast. I want brewed coffee. I want steps. I want people to learn and grow by. Grow by.
And you walk through doors even though they're open and you walk through. You don't really question it. You don't question
Absolutely
it
not.
at all.
One of the things that I say, and it may sound a little cocky,
Yes, all right.
Mtume used to tell me, he said, you're deliciously arrogant. And I said, Mtume, that doesn't sound nice. He said, no, it is nice. And that's why I brought you into my home, into my career, because you walk with confidence. You
Self-confidence is
walk with
important.
self-insurance. You walk with all these things. And that's what people are. He said to me, you cannot sell something if you're not. So you have to be. As
Yeah.
a publicist, you have to be a believer. And for the last 55 years of my career and having over 30 employees in my life, that's what I teach them. I educate them on that. I stimulate them and I motivate them on the how to be perceived, what you should look like, what you should speak like. And I do the same thing for my artists. We live in white America. We live in white America. And when you're in white America, you're going to do what white America tells you to do. When we're in Rome, we're going to do what Romans tell us to do, right? And we conform. And then we take an abstract from that
And make it better.
and make it better and make it our own.
Make it our own.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. So as a writer, you've written many books. When did you decide you wanted to become an author first? And were your manuscripts kind of just sitting around the table in a drawer until you decided to publish them, or how did that happen?
I'm going to be so very, very honest with you. I never thought that I was a writer. I know that sitting at the computer and hashing out my feelings was important to me. And I knew that my feelings was also the sentiments of so many other people. And the first book that I wrote was for Judith Reagan. And it was a huge publishing company. And it was the Reagan Book Company.
Mm.
And I just dealt with issues that I know that was plaguing the urban community. And the first book I wrote was, What's Your Excuse? And then the undertitle was, I'm teaching you what your mother and your fathers didn't, which was mannerisms, which was pursuant to the next level of your career. So I created what was a 24-week artist development program, very much to what Berry Gordy did back in the 60s.
Right.
You have to remember, Black music was, they used to call our music beach music. It was only played on Black radio stations. And he was smart enough to understand why was his artist being resistant in white America? Because they didn't look like them, they were threatened by them. So he took and he put them in charm school. He got great designers, great choreographers, speech, and eloquent and ways of what white America was accustomed to. Now here comes the Supremes. Elegant, long, slinky, sophisticated evening gowns. When they did interviews, they articulated their conversations in a manner that could be digestible. The gentlemen looked like gentlemen. So that my 24-week artist development program was very much that, but it did differ. I'm about the business of music. I'm not about the craft of music, because the craft of music is 25%. The business of music is 75%. And Black people, brown people get cheated out of their money more than anyone else on this continent, in this world. And I got sick and tired of young people getting so excited about being a part of an industry.
And making peanuts when there was so much more to be made.
And then I got so many calls when it was the 50th anniversary to hip hop. I said, what you calling me for? There ain't no celebration for me. White folks got all the money. These kids are out here still with cups. These kids are still out here doing performances. These kids are out here not having anything.
Right.
But these are the people who said that hip hop would not last, that it was a joke. But those are the people that are the benefactors of what is called the hip hop music. So my thing was, I want to make sure my artists could read, could write. And I used to tell them, did you read your contract? And they was like, yeah, I read it. I said, no, I'm asking you a question. Can you read? And they go, what do you mean? I said, okay, so believe it or not, I have your contract here. Read it for me. But what's that word? So you can't read. So you needed to go, you made a commitment on this piece of paper because you were ambitious and you was not ambitious. You signed your name to something that you didn't know what you signed your name to.
And so, all this is in your book?
All this is in my book. And it's in previous books. I'm sometimes redundant because I want people, particularly these young people that think that they know it all, I want them to get to understand that I've been in this game for 55 years.
Right.
From Dionne Warwick to Whitney Houston to Michael Jackson. And the list is continuous. I got it. I want you to get it. And the name of the book is Before I Let You Go. Because I don't want to let you go and you don't know.
When you were in the publishing journey, did you have any discriminatory meetings or situations?
You got to understand, I have had all kinds of discriminatory meetings, not just in the publishing end, but in every end. I remember when I was representing James Mtume, and I used to go into the meetings at Sony. And I remember this white guy, his name was Stephen Goldstein. After I finished my full-blown presentation, he said to me, oh, you speak so well.
Don't you?
And I looked at him and I said, I was going to tell you the same thing.
Same thing.
So you have to understand that was back then, and that's still to this day.
It
You see,
is.
but I fought many battles as being a gay black man in the music industry, particularly in hip hop. Hip hop artists did not want to have any associations. You know what? Keep your eyes
Well,
out of
not
my
just in
bed.
the music industry. You probably fought battles.
Oh, I fought battles
Yeah,
every
like
single day of my life.
360. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, 360.
Exactly.
But you know
Yeah.
what? When you fall romantically in love with yourself and you're honest and you're transparent with your mother and with your God and with your sisters and brothers, nothing matters. Nothing matters. Move progressively forward to do your job.
When your first book was published, it was by a traditional publishing company.
Yes.
And then you went to self-publishing?
Then I went into self-publishing.
Okay.
Because
Uh,
see, here's the thing for me. At the helms of my success, there was New York Times, there was GQ, there was Vogue magazine, there was everything.
right.
So she was going to win. She was going to make money. The second go around, the heat goes down off of my visibility. And
Right.
so therefore, uh, I didn't want to enter into a second book when I knew I was going to get the love that I got on the first one. So I understand the formulas of marketing. If they put the book out there and it don't hit in the first week or two,
That's right.
you're
It's
over.
lost.
You're lost. So I know what it is. I know what it is as a publicist and a marketing person, what I have to do. So now I'm into this particular book. May I start going for pre-sales. I started going for pre-sales in May. The book is not released until August. I'm running for president of the United States. I'm going
Right,
to
Tom.
I'm going to, I got 15 of my strongest friends. And I said, you need to host me in your house. And I want you to invite 20 people to your house. I'm going to walk through that door and I'm going to be so fabulous. And I'm going to read to these people. I'm going to have whatever you want me to have there. Excuse me, refreshment wise. And guess what? It starts tomorrow and it ends in July. I'm going from New Jersey to New York to Philadelphia to Atlanta to Chicago. That's how I'm selling my book. And when it lands in August, maybe we'll be a New York Times bestseller.
Why did you decide that you should be on the front cover? I think that that's awesome, but most
I
people don't do that.
well, I am my commodity.
Right.
I am my commodity. I I've been behind the scenes and I needed to be in front. And I know my qualities and the contributions that I've made worldwide. And I want people to know who I am. I don't want you to look between the pages of my book. I want you to be able to identify with me. I worked hard to be me. I work hard to take all of these artists and put them in the
Right.
forefront. I want people to know who I am.
Tell us about your editing journey and who designed the front covers? Was it you?
It was the it was the who designed the front cover. Um, I go periodically and I do a series of photo shoots. And wherever they may land, and I have enough photos for press, enough photos for covers of books or whatever I go to do. And I took that photograph about maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And I said, oh, I like this. Da, da, da,
It's
da,
a
da.
nice photo. Do you have a
Thank you
copy of
very
the book
much.
to show?
I don't
Yeah.
have a copy
Oh,
of the
okay.
book to
Okay.
show.
Mhm.
Um,
It's on
but there,
Amazon.com.
yeah, it's on Amazon, and I am with a very small Black publishing company called HOV Publishing. It's a
Okay.
sister. Her name is what is her name? Her name is Jermaine Miller. And
Mm.
I met Jermaine some months ago. No, I should say it's years ago with DMX when I was managing DMX. And she called me one day, and I was going to do that whole Amazon thing. And she called me and we were talking. And I said, well, I'm working on this book that I want to put out, Papa. And we started talking. And I believe very much into the years and times of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where Elijah Muhammad fought for his people to be unified. And he believed very much that we should have our own farms. We should have our own dairy, our own eggs.
Absolutely.
All of that. We should own those things, right? But they had people that don't look like you and I poisoned us to think that this man was just being evil. And all he was doing was being committed to a community of people and trying to enrich the lives of these people to make for a better society for these people. Very much like the Jews, very much like the Italians, very much like the Asians. That's all he was trying to do. My whole thing in this book is not about so much the entertainment industry. It is about the layperson. It's about the drug addict. It's about the domestic violence person. It's about the incarcerated person. It's about the HIV person. I use a template of my life coming from the city of Newark, having a single parent, 8th grade education, 2 sisters that are drug addicts. That is my plate. And I wanted people to understand that are coming out of these different arenas of life. If I can do this, you can do this too. You could do this.
So give us just a little more meat about Before I Let Go. I mean, that's a famous little tag on a very famous song. Why did you pick that, first of all? Second of all, what pearls of wisdom do you have? Just give us a couple, because we want people to buy the book, of course.
I know that everybody thought that this song was about, or this title of this book was about Frankie Beverly.
No, I'm just saying that the tagline is
no,
familiar to people. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people have come to me and said, Angelo, is that Frankie Beverly? I represented Frankie Beverly.
Oh, okay.
But that was just not it. I went through a series of operations this year, and I thought this was going to be my last book because of the various things that doctors were saying to me. And then when I found out that everything was okay with me, I said, you know what's really cool here? I must give mentoring to my young people. And I want to give it to my seniors too. I think the seniors are so unsung. And I'm one of the seniors. I'm one of the seniors. But listen, but we're unsung. They think when we get to a certain age, you want to throw me in the garbage can. You ain't throwing me in no garbage can. And I ain't sitting in no wheelchair looking out no window ready to.
Right.
No, I ask God every single day, with gratitude, would you give me the strength and the energy, the insightfulness to be strong, to carry on, to do what I need to do at this age. That's what it's really all about.
So do you think it's a kind of a blueprint?
I kind of think so.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's a blueprint. Yeah. I want people, I pray 45 minutes every day. And I'm so very, very thankful. I never ever thought that I would turn to be 67 years old. I never thought that. I never thought that I would be at the apex of my success. But it's only because of the will of God. And it's only because of what he does for me each and every single day. I draw my strength from him. I really, really. So I don't have friends, because I spell the word friend, E-N-D. A friend is going to begin and a friend is going to end. But in God, I'm going to always have them. And so in this business, in this entertainment business, you got to be very, very selective as to who you call friend.
I think in any industry.
Oh, wow. Listen. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, in any industry.
Absolutely know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have to be careful, because your reputation is everything.
It is everything. But
if you surround yourself with people whose reputations aren't as, nobody has to be able to have a stellar reputation, right? But at least not something that can pull your name down when you're attached to somebody else. So
I believe very, very much that we as seniors and as adults, we owe our children, we owe them mentoring. Now, I know they're hard-headed. I know they're stubborn. I know they don't want to listen, but we have to be persistent in teaching them the who, the whats, the whens, the wheres, and the whys of existing on this planet Earth that is not ours, that has been taken from us. We're raped, male, female, and all otherwise. And so I just really, really believe that we need to empower each other. We need to advise each other, and then we need to love one another. And we need to stop being, what do you call, snakes in a barrel. We need to
well,
be,
we have a tribe and we have a saying that we're collaborators, not competitors.
I like that.
That's what we are. We're collaborators, not competitors.
I
So
like
this
that.
the book tribe that we have right now is amazing. And I want to segue into that to say, in an interview, you said everybody deserves to win.
Yeah.
Expound on that for me.
I believe that we are great because we're God's children, and we're greater because we acknowledge that we're God's children. And all he wants us to do is to be the greatest at what we go to achieve. I believe that everyone deserves chances in life. I don't believe we need to close the door on the, and my driver says to me every day, why did you keep giving money to those people in the street? He says, all they're going to do is go get high and get drunk. That ain't my business.
Right.
My business is do the work of what God asked me to do. And I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. I'm nobody's born again Christian.
Right.
His mouth, I'm not. But what I am,
you're a product of the universe.
I'm a believer.
Huh?
And I know what he does for me.
Right.
And I need to do that for somebody else. I don't care if they go buy whatever they go to buy with the money I go to give them. And every street corner, when we stop, they come to the car with signs. And I actually have about $30 of singles because it's important. These people are going through something.
Yeah.
And the drug addicts, I have two sisters. One died. I have a sister that is a drug addict. I want somebody to help her. So if I'm not helping these people on the street, who? And so my foundation, I just created this foundation, the Angelo Ellerbee Foundation, which will take care of HIV and AIDS victims that are being evicted from their homes because their mothers and fathers can't understand their lifestyles. So what the foundation will do is take care of the children, 4 children a year, for 1 year, feed them 3 meals a day, and find an occupation that they like so they don't have to go on the streets and prostitute themselves and be less than a human being. That's where my heart is. All of what I've obtained in my life, I can't take a damn thing with me.
No.
Ain't nothing I'm gonna take.
We were just talking about that. No,
what you gonna take? What will you take with you? Nothing. I sit back with my lawyer and I went, this is where my odds are going. This is where my, because that's what for me, that's what I had to do. I had to be real with myself.
Right.
I graduated from the M2MA Institute
of Learning.
I've gone through it all. I filed bankruptcy twice. I've lost like $2.5 million on a project. And I remember calling my mother once, Don, it was so funny. I called my mom and I said Mom, what you doing? She said, I'm in the kitchen. And I said, okay, so Mom, I lost my money. And she said, what do you mean you lost your money? She said, well, you better go find it. I said, Mom, I got to move out of this. I was there on 7th Avenue for 25 years. And I think the only Black person that was on 7th Avenue. So she said, oh, so you feeling sorry for yourself? She said, let me just try to tell you something. How did you begin this? I said, mine, the basement of the house. Yeah. She said, go pack that stuff up and get out of that white man's building and I got to go because my collard greens is on and they're burning. Click. The reality in all of that was
Right.
you still have what God gave you. So
Mm.
when one door closes, another will open, but you got to take some steps to get there.
Well, I want to touch on your sexuality just for a moment, just
Sure.
because we have young people who do watch the program who are a part of the LGBTQI community. Did your mother know before you knew?
Oh, absolutely. My mother was the one that identified with me. It was so funny. I'm gonna tell you what's really, really funny. It was I had to be about 19 years old, and I had did a lot of fashion shows in the city of Newark, where 2,000 and 3,000 people would come. I brought in the Carmen, the Lavalons, the Joffrey Holders, the Patty Clevelands, the Beverly Johnsons, the Imans. So at 19 years old, I was very, very well accepted in my community as this promoter, as this star maker, as this designer. So there was a young girl that I was engaged with, and it was Thanksgiving. I will never forget. It was like it was yesterday. And I was about to give her a wedding ring, right? Or an engagement ring. So my mother said, "Excuse us for a minute." She took me in the kitchen and she said, "I know damn well you ain't about to get that girl no ring." And I said, "Mom, yeah, I am." She said, "Who are you trying to fool?
What?
You ain't fooling me. You ain't fooling your brothers and sisters. Give me that damn ring. Now go take her home and be yourself.
So,
Be original. Be original. I love you unconditionally. I don't care." And so therefore, that's why my energy level is the way that it
mm,
is. As long as my mother, my four sisters, and my brothers, and I knew that God, it didn't matter to me. I couldn't care what you said to me. I don't
I,
call every name underneath the book.
I guess that my question to you is if you knew you were waiting for the acceptance of your mom, or you're
I
not sure
think I think that I was waiting for the
of
acceptance and
yourself?
love,
Okay.
and then of myself. And that's
Mm.
why I started this conversation off with you by telling you that I'm romantically in love with Angelo Ellerbee. I love me some me. And that's what my mother taught me. She taught me how to love myself.
Right.
And when you love yourself, you can love everything else. Oh, I must say this. 4 months later, the girl got married to somebody else.
Well, I mean, that was probably a pretty large pill to swallow because I'm sure as a
Yeah.
young man you were very charismatic and she probably liked the lifestyle and then boom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
it's probably hard.
I
I wonder if she's
love
still married to that person. Is she?
she is. She
Is she?
is. She is still married to that person. I see them often.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see them often, and I sure wish I could share with you who it is because you would know who it is.
yeah. No,
But
I wouldn't.
but yeah, they're still married and they've had children the whole bit there, and I'm happy for them.
Oh,
I'm happy
absolutely.
for her. The wonderful thing is that sometimes we can get on the phone and talk 2 and 3 hours with like trans with we could see through each other.
Right, which is nice. Yeah.
It is. It is.
I'm gonna switch back to, and I know our time, I don't want to keep you forever. So when you write, another thing we like to talk about with young authors and even seasoned authors, where do you do that? Do you write in a coffee shop, your office? Are you writing on the backs of
Do you know
envelopes?
what? Do you know
How
what
is
it
it?
is?
No, I don't know.
My best mental writing is in the shower.
Really?
I think
How do
about
you
everything.
remember when you get out?
As
That's the
soon as I get out of the
okay
shower, I have a book.
that you write in.
This book is
Okay.
right in the bathroom with me.
Okay.
And I take this book
Everywhere.
everywhere and I start it from this book.
And how
Now,
many of those do you have? I know I
I
have
have I
six.
have about 12 of this book.
Yeah.
And I just begin to write what I feel.
Yeah.
I write from here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it makes no damn sense.
Yeah.
I go back and change it about 14 times so that it can make sense. And then because I live alone, I have the opportunity to sit at my computer.
And just
And I remember the when it was the pandemic, I just sit back and I just let my whole heart go in that computer. Just I was just writing, talking about my mother, talking about my
mhm.
sisters growing up, hard times, good times, bad times, rejoicing times, just feeling really good about that I'm still here.
That's the best therapy that you didn't have to pay for, I'll tell you.
Yeah, yeah. And it was that, that was the time where people were paying
Yeah, yeah,
a
for
lot of
therapy.
money, yeah, for therapy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to tell you, I spend 45 minutes every morning praying because I'm so thankful. I'm so I can't tell you, my heart is thankful because I don't have to be here.
Right,
So many people that are not here.
right.
So when you go to write books, I just believe for me, the books that I write, I want people to pick it up and feel each page. And especially for that young gay kid, I
Yeah.
really want them to understand it is not about sexuality. It's about growing. It's about loving yourself. It's about understanding yourself. It's about all those things and being able to waver through the society and the racism and the judgment and the bullying. I want them to learn how to go between all of that and sustain, because that's what I had to do.
Of course. I mean, and you grew up in that time
Oh
when,
yeah.
it didn't
Oh
have
yeah.
a whole bunch of
Oh
initials, right?
yeah. Yes.
It just
Yeah.
had a whole bunch of bad words and
Yes. Yes.
bad situations, and so your skin had to be extremely tough to get through that.
Yeah. But you know what it is? I'm telling you, when you know what you're about, you live with what you're about.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't change it. I don't believe in two lives. I believe in one life. I'm not going to live two lives to fit in somewhere. My mother always told me to walk with respect and with dignity. You respect people, people will respect you. You tell the truth, they understand the truth. I always just walked with my head high. And I think it was a little different for me because 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old in the largest city in the state of New Jersey who didn't know me. And so therefore I was a little celebrity
Right,
in a community. So they wasn't gonna come
right,
for me, but they came for so many others like me.
right.
They respected me because I had that. But that other guy who's walking down the street, he didn't have that.
Well, you were the unicorn. You're right.
Yeah, but
Yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah, but what I tried to do, I tried to tell
Mhm.
those behind me, beside me, in front of me, you gotta fit. You gotta
Yeah.
fit. And in Newark, it was only one club that everybody went to
Right.
because you couldn't go. There wasn't a whole lot of clubs. It was one
No,
club,
no,
one,
right. What?
and that one club, everybody was in there, and it was just like everybody could be themselves.
Yeah, really
It's
nice.
so important. It's so important.
So the book is entitled Before I Let Go, everybody. And you have a website where people can
So
buy the book? Mm-hmm.
the pre-sales of the book is through HOP.
HOP.
Uh, I'm sorry,
HOP. Okay.
HOPpublishing.com. And all of my social media is at doubleexposurenyc.com. And it's just,
Talk
I
about
think
double
this,
exposure real quick. Where'd that name come from?
do you know what? When I worked for M2May, there was a girl named Sonia. I think her name was Sonia Kimball. I did not come up with the name. I thought the name was corny, but Sonia came up with the name, and a friend of mine who was a graphic designer, John Kellerman Greer, said, this is boring. And it was during the time of the movie of Malcolm X.
Okay.
And so he dropped the E and added the two X's, which gave you double exposure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it
I
came
love
out.
that. Love
Thank
that.
you. Thank
Really
you.
nice. Okay, the book is called Before I Let Go, Many Pearls of Wisdoms, and it's a blueprint for people in the industry. And we have a seasoned author here who, listen, everybody, you got to write it down. You can't think about it because then it's gone. We all have to have something in our hands to write our thoughts and our memoirs to get things right. And I want you to just give us it's HOV Publishing, right?
HOV,
.com.
yes.
HOVpublishing.com, where you can pre-order and hopefully get your book signed and then mailed out to you from HOV Publishing. And Mr. Ellerbee, I will ask you for a pearl of wisdom. Yeah, I love that shirt. Yes.
I'm gonna send Donna, I'm gonna send you a shirt.
And I'm gonna send you my address.
and I also have a bag.
Oh, nice.
So I'm
I
gonna send it
love
out to
it.
you.
I
I'm gonna send
love
it out to
it.
you.
I love it. Before I let go, HOV Publishing, as we end this conversation, Mr. Ellerbee, I need a pearl of wisdom from you.
Fall romantically in love with you. And when you fall in love with you, be original. Don't be a copycat. Be authentic. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Love yourself. Walk with your head high. Think good. Think God. Think blessings and keep it moving.
What an encouraging conversation. I certainly hope that you'll come back and we'll talk more about your music industry. I have another platform called Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation After Dark. And so, yeah, and so we'll bring you back on to talk a little bit more in depth about your life in the music industry. And thank you to my tribe who is here this evening with us. Thank you for
Bye,
being
Mama
here.
Tony. See you, Patricia. And
Janice.
Janice F. Kearney.
When the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mr. Ellerbee. Good night.
God bless you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.